Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do point slope form. Here's point slope form. Basically, it has a point and a slope in it, just like I told you in class. This is your slope. And this is your point. This is where the x comes from, goes, and this is where the y goes. The reason why it says x1, y1, if you remember the slope formula, it has y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Those are the things you plug in. The ones that don't have it, like this y right here, and this x right here, you don't replace those. Those just stay y and x. You don't do anything to those. You just replace the ones with the little markers on them, the ones. Alright, so let's do this one. It says write an equation that goes through the point negative 2, 3, and has a slope of 2. Alright, so here's y equals mx plus b. Here's point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What you're going to do is you're going to plug in your slope, which is the 2. So I'm going to erase this m, and I'm going to plug in the 2 right there. And then I'm going to plug in my x, which is negative 2. And then I'm going to plug in my y, which is 3, right there. Alright, now I'm going to simplify this real fast. Y minus 3 equals 2 times x, and this is going to become plus 2. Alright, now this is point slope form. This is the equation in point slope form. We're done. Sometimes they'll ask you to write it in slope-intercept form once you get it to this point. And all you have to do is solve. So you're going to distribute the 2. So you get y minus 3 equals 2x plus 4. And then you're going to solve for y. So you're going to add 3 to both sides. Y equals 2x plus 7. And the reason why you would do this is because now we can graph it in our calculators. We also know what the slope is, and we now know what the y-intercept is. And that's the reason why you would do that. Alright, let's do another example. What is the slope and the y-intercept of this point slope formula? Well, we have y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Okay? So, my m is obviously 1/2. So I'm going to write that down. M equals 1/2. Now, we want to find the slope, the y-intercept, So let's write down the other point that's there. Let me make this a better m. There we go. The other point for x1 would be 0. See, it's right here. And for y1 would be 2. Now you got to be careful because that y2, it's supposed to be minus y. So because it's plus 2, that means that's really a negative 2 right there because a minus and negative makes a positive. So you got to be careful right there. So look, this is my y-intercept. It's negative 2. Because when x is 0, that means it crosses a y-axis. It's in the middle of the number line for x-axis. So if I want to write this in points or slope-intercept form, I could write it now. That's it. That's all you have to do. Let's do another one. Alright, graph the following equation. Well, to graph, we at least need to know a point and we need to know the slope. Well, here we know the slope. It's right here. So m equals 3 over 2, or rise over run. And then my point is x1. Now you got to be careful. It says plus. It should say minus, so it's negative 1. And then plus 2, so same here, it's negative 2. It's kind of like the opposite of what's actually there. So I'm going to go -1, -2. So -1, -2 right here. Now my rise is 3. Let me write in black. Might be easier to see. My rise is 3, so I go up 1, 2, 3, and over 2. 1, 2. There. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 2. So now I can draw a line. There you go. Now I graph the line with the equation y plus 2 equals 3 over 2 times x plus 1. Last one. This one says write an equation that goes through the point 1, 4 and -2, 3. Well, for either one, slope intercept and for point slope, we have to know what the slope is. So we have to find the slope given 2 points. If you're ever confused about this, always label these. This is x, this is y, x, y. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Remember that the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this would be 3 minus 4 over -2 minus 1. 3 minus 4 is -1. -2 minus 1 would be -3. A negative over a negative gives me positive 1/3. So now I have my slope. Now for point slope, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All we need now is a point, because all I have to do to replace the m is put in 1/3. Now here's the deal. You can choose whatever point you want. You can choose 1/4 or -2, 3. I'm going to choose, because I think it's easier, 1/4. So that means my x1 is now going to become a 1. And my y1 is now going to become a 4. And that's the point-slope equation. We're done. Now, if you wanted to figure out what the slope-intercept form is, you would have to solve it. All right? Now, on most problems like this, they will sometimes choose a point that you have to write this equation in. You'll get the same equation if you solve for slope-intercept form, but it won't look the same when it's in point-slope form. But it is. It is the same. So make sure you read the directions, and if they tell you to use a certain point, you use that one. Okay? And we'll talk more about that in class when we do examples of this. All right, and that's the end, folks. Hope you enjoy the video.